Maybe.
We have chased him around the world. This time he is in San Luis Obispo. Good morning. And how was the weekend in San Luis?
Fantastic. It was such a great event. You guys, if you get a chance to come to one of these, you just got to. John from the Silicon Valley Owners Club put this on along with 𝐶𝐬𝐵. These guys do such fantastic work, and these events just come off so good. And I'm sure there were things that they were like, oh, this went wrong or this went wrong. None of it showed if that happened. It was truly fantastic. So yeah, we had a great time. Got my little metal badge here that says influencer because I guess that's what I am. But yeah, it was fantastic.
All right. So you, of course, were up and amongst many, many influencers over the weekend. So, did they influence you in any way? Did you hear anything that is reportable, exciting, interesting?
Well, absolutely, of course, and always. The biggest thing, though, is what you got to do is watch the panels, of course, go to the meet and greets and ask your follow-up questions. But then, if you get a chance, track us down. We go out to dinners and whatnot and hang out with people. And I got to meet some fantastic people. I got to meet Ryan Tanaka, who follows Neuralink. And I asked him, the question I asked him is, well, what is Neuralink doing that's different from the competition? And the question was so silly in retrospect. I might as well have said, well, what's SpaceX doing that's different from the competition? So the answer is, well, I mean, everything. Name something that is part of the process, and that is what they're doing differently, better, bigger, cleaner, tighter, faster, more. Yeah, whatever it could be that you wish your company could do, that's what they're doing. And so it's insights like that you get. And I got to, get face to face with a lot of other people who I watch, who I respect, who have very, very nuanced questions. And the people that, the viewers that come up and say, I watch your channel all the time. I do have a question though. Those questions are so good because nobody's asking 101 questions. They're asking, graduate, doctorate level questions. And they happen to know that they're in the place where someone here has the answers.
Nice. No, so what was the mood? Now, we've had an awful lot of change in the last week in terms of the mood, the way that Elon spelled it out at the earnings call, the way that the market has reacted over the last few days, and this morning is up strongly again after some great notes from some analysts. But what was the mood over the weekend? How are people feeling about Tesla right now?
The mood was just ebullient. It was very good. Everybody was very excited to be there. We had so many vendors. So even if you think, well, the vendor thing isn't for me, well, people would walk around and go, okay, well, maybe this one is. Well, maybe this one is. And everybody, it's hard to be sad at one of these events. So it was great. And then we did have the surprise keynote from Elon himself.
I know.
And we tried to tell people, you don't just come Saturday, you got to come both days. You don't know what you're going to miss. And I had heard the rumor that he would be there, but I don't report single source rumors. So I did not share that. And with his schedule, anything is subject to change.
Of course. And I understand from listening to it that they were only expecting like 5 or 10 minutes and got over an hour. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, they should have cut him off, man. You're over your time.
Did any panels get struck because Elon?
No, because they put it at that spot on purpose so that they could work around it as needed. And yeah, it nobody's complaining about that. And if your panel was after it, it just means you've got the biggest crowd waiting. You want your new show to be on after the Super Bowl or after Friends or whatever it would be for the particular time period. So it was great.
Yeah, I did see activity drop off radically when the show started, when Elon came on, more so than usual. It was really funny to watch the numbers drop. So we know that, of course, people had to be talking a lot about 12.5. I want to dedicated an entire show, our Tuesday show, to that. So I'll kind of skip over 12.5. In addition to 12.5, what else was hot? What else were people, what were they really excited about? Was it still about Cybertruck? Is it more about the energy? Was there, semi? I mean, was there any particular area that was really top of mind?
So that's a great question. Of course, Cybertruck is exciting, but there were 30 of them there with every kind of wrap you could imagine. The people have got their plaids, people have got their extremely customized 3s, Ys, S's, X's. It was, of course, very exciting in that way. But again, this is not the 101 crowd.
Right.
This isn't even the grad level. This is the doctorate. So the question that I was asking people, and I asked a lot of people, is what comes after Dojo, bot, and autonomy? What is the thing that they're working on that we don't know about? And the best answer I found was from Jeff Lutz, who I'd never met in person before. Somehow I was like, oh wait, we haven't met in person. So that was a lot of fun. What he said is is this is Tesla. You're thinking too small.
Okay.
Humanoid bots, yeah, billions of them. You're thinking too small. The thing after that, he believes, and when you hear it, I believe too now, is what comes after that is non-humanoid bots, every other kind of bot. If you need little raccoons that can crawl into the rubble of a collapsed building to find the survivors and get them water, those are next.
Yeah.
And those are going to be very small and cheap. And if they get crushed, so what? Who cares? It is no cost compared to that of a human life. And it's everything. You don't need, they can go fix your plumbing inside the pipes. They can do anything that humans can't, that you would need. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, these things have been taught. I mean, we've got the little bots, if you will, that go into your veins, pill-sized bots that can go into your veins. We've got of course, bots that go and deal with explosives when something they think is an explosive package or whatnot. So yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And it does. The ones you described,
automated. Yeah,
exactly. Well, and the ones you described are very prohibitively expensive.
Right.
There are bomb squads around the world that can't afford the bomb squad robots. But what if the bomb squad robot was, $500 or $1,000?
Right.
Then you would never have to make that a financial decision. And the other thing people were talking about is, so if we get into a post money world, which an age of plenty, that is always the promise, then what? And to me, the answer to that is then Mars. If labor is infinite, if the materials with which to build things from that labor are infinite because they were harvested by the bots, what then? Mars. Mars is then free.
Virtually, yeah. And moreover, there would be other adventures as well. Elon's might be Mars, but somebody else's might be the bottom of the ocean. Somebody else's might be really going in and not necessarily civilizing the Amazon, but rather maximizing the Amazon or something. Anyway, lots of potential adventures to still be explored in the future.
All things that don't happen because they don't have a financial case right now,
right.
But you remove the financial incentive and a lot of things can make sense.
Right. Well, so you were mentioning people up there with their plaids and whatnot. You might have seen the news this morning that there is a new quarter-mile record.
Oh, I did not.
You didn't. The Model S plaid set a record, quarter mile in 8.56.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 162 miles an hour. I didn't write it down, but I think that was the number. So, and the question that was being asked this morning was, is this what we're expecting from the Roadster? And I haven't answered that one yet, but I think we're expecting even more from the Roadster.
Of course. We don't. Well, even if you just put the plaid powertrain in a smaller, lighter car,
right.
There you go. But of course, we're expecting something next level.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back to mood, because this is, it's a moody Monday. The mood on Wall Street has changed a lot. Those two analyst calls out this morning. Now, these are bulls. These are people that have been pro Tesla for a long time. But the reality is the mood of the analysts' notes since the call have all been about AI. Everything is switched. Everything, what Elon said a year ago, we're an AI company specializing in robotics. This is now finally, it's taken a year, but we're finally starting to see, note after note after note coming out from the analysts that are specifying that, as opposed to still talking about vehicle count.
Vehicle count is, it's like we're asking the wrong question. People have asked me, what is the holdup in Mexico? And I said, there's a pivot coming and we can't see it because it hasn't been shared with us in a ways that are sufficiently explicit. Well, we want to grow this company, right? We could do that by building a bunch more factories that make horse and carriage, buggies that make those. But if those aren't the right solution, how much energy do you want to spend going down the wrong path? And that's what we don't know yet. What we don't know, and the event is going to be very exciting, and more things will become clear. By the way, I do believe Mexico will be built at some point. But until you know what you're building and what it's for, and Elon did say that, well, there's tariff uncertainties. Okay, but there will always be need for localization for factories in different places that do different things. And yes, we can build the compact or the robotaxi in Texas, but if you're talking about making 2 to 4 million of them, they would need to build new facilities in Texas. And if you plan to export them to countries outside of the ones the US has trade agreements with, Mexico has twice as many trade agreements, makes it a pretty easy slam dunk there for that. A lot of Teslas built in the US come from Fremont or Austin, but in Mexico and Canada, they don't. They come from Shanghai because they've got the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP. That wasn't canceled. We just opted out of it. We just sacrificed our seat at the table and allowed other countries to have this big party without us. So that's an unfortunate side effect of some of the, political grandstanding and hubris, but it's there are unintended consequences to all those things. And it's just because you choose not to go doesn't mean the party isn't happening.
So speaking of capacity, and I know again, we're saying with out of one side of my mouth, I'm saying the capacity doesn't matter anymore. And now I'm going to go to the other side of my mouth. And just for fun, I still care in general. And there's been a lot of conversation actually over the last couple of days on X about what the true capacity is. And I still think they're understating it, but maybe you'll set me straight. I look at Shanghai and I say, it is now 30% more than it was. You and I have talked about 1.1 million, I think, is the number before the increase because of the 30-second rule and the extra 100 yards of space. So I'm saying 1.4.
So we don't know. We know that when Model 3 refresh happened, part of the whole plan was that it would streamline efficiency further. Juniper has not come yet. Right. And when that happens, well, there will be a dip, of course, for the changeover, but I expect more capacity coming out. I expect Junipers to roll off the line even faster than the current Model Ys, which are, in case you hadn't heard, pretty big sellers worldwide. So those are going to be, so Shanghai definitely has more capacity. Fremont, of course, kind of maxed out, but if the S and X line were to add the Roadster, maybe another 50,000 there, not much, but while the demand could be very, very high, I don't think they intend to make huge volumes of them, and they wouldn't be terribly efficient. They'd be fantastic for margin once you get through all the free ones that have been pledged to referrers from those gravy days. And then you look at Texas, they've got a ton of capacity there. I had a chance to talk with a gentleman from Texas who said, I can't tell you much, but I believe from what I know from working in Texas that The numbers are sandbagged. That
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot more production of the Cybertruck than has been made clear so far. So I'm still thinking my number of 80 to 90 for year end is not crazy.
Okay.
We know the LG batteries are coming, the 4680 LGs from, I don't remember, Oklahoma or somewhere.
Right.
Somebody's making 4680s that will presumably go into the Cybertruck. That will allow Cybertruck to continue ramping regardless of any hiccups in the in-house 4680 line. And if for some reason those two supplies combine to be enough, that means they'd have more 2170s available for domestic production, whether for the semi or otherwise in models built in Fremont. So there's a lot of capacity. And then, of course, we've got the potential for the intermediate compact, which could be built on a Model Y line.
Right.
And an intermediate compact would not have a lot of the bells and whistles you'd want from a new car. But the plus side is you'd be able to get it up and running very quickly. And a more affordable model would lead to greater utilization. So while I don't have my spreadsheets in front of me, I will say that your conclusions, they may be a little optimistic, but they are definitely directionally correct.
So let's just take a quick rundown. So we would be looking at somewhere over 1.1 million in Shanghai.
Yes.
You're looking at 600, 650, 700,000 in Fremont. So around that, those two together, maybe you're looking at two, maybe just short of two between those two. And that doesn't count the extra 100 yards that they just freed up in Shanghai, which could potentially provide some more. Now we go down to Texas. It's the largest facility that they've ever built in terms of usable floor space.
It's the largest single building. If you count the die shop and the cathode building, it is bigger than Shanghai, but only just. And remember, Shanghai, here's some fun math I came across. I was thinking about this. Shanghai is about 9 million square feet. They make 1 million cars. That means 9 square feet per car per year. That's a square meter per car per year of production.
Okay.
Show me another factory that can do that.
All right. So let's say that Texas is only another million. We know that's got to be a minimum. Sure. All right. So let's just say 1 million at Texas. And then we know that the original number for Berlin was 500,000. So I add that up, I come awfully close to 3.5 million, not the 2.7 million that people have been bandying around over the weekend. I don't know, where's the 800,000 difference there? I don't quite get that.
It's in ramp and changeover. We gotta, demand isn't infinite. The Model Y is already the best selling car in the world. You run out of headroom. In order to get to that 3+ million, they're going to need the intermediate compact. Right. They're going to need the Juniper. Right. Yeah. So again, directionally right. Elon did say we could squeeze another 50% out of the existing facilities. But like you already said, these numbers may not matter as much if one robotaxi has the utilization value of 5 cars. Right. Right. You know, that would 20 million would be every car in the world already, because right. There's less than 100 million produced per year globally, generally speaking.
Yeah, that's I'd say that's a few years out, even in my most optimistic scenario. But yeah, okay.
You do get optimistic.
I do. I know. This is true. This is true. All right. Well, I think I've covered all my stuff for this show, Brian.
Too much. You've covered too much, Randy. I'm concerned.
You look awfully pastoral there. You have your white picket fence in the background, the green fields.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it must be lovely.
It's actually quite chilly this morning and breezy, so I'm just making the best of it. I got my regen mode shirt that the fine folks at the Tesla Owners Club of Los Angeles gave me. Thank you to them. Big shout out. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, it was great. It was a great event.
All right. Okay. We will see you shortly, and we'll talk about some stuff that will be published on Tuesday. Thanks as always, Brian, and to all of you out there. It's been great talking to you.